Right. So today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting. I think 50 journal prompts for teens.
Nice.
And these prompts come from Listallion,
Mm-hmm.
which is an online shop that specializes in journals and self-improvement resources.
Interesting.
And what's really cool about these is that they're categorized
Okay.
into different topics that are all super relevant to being a teen,
So like what?
like self-discovery,
Right.
confidence, friendships,
Yeah.
goals, and self-care.
I like that. That's a pretty broad spectrum
Yeah.
of the whole teen experience.
Yeah, pretty much the whole teen
That's
experience.
cool.
So, and they're not just random questions. They're really well thought out prompts
Yeah.
that encourage teens to like really reflect and think deeply about these different aspects of their lives.
I think that's a really interesting idea because it kind of gives them like a guide or a roadmap
Right.
for self-discovery through journaling.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I'm a teen.
Mm-hmm.
There's all this stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I even start?
Yeah.
So this gives them those starting points.
Yeah, and I think it's smart how they start with self-discovery
Right.
because that seems like a natural place to begin,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, for sure.
before you can kind of tackle those other areas.
Absolutely. And one of the prompts in this category
Okay.
is if I could talk to my future self,
Oh, wow.
what advice would I ask about handling life as a teenager?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right?
That's a really good one.
It's deep.
I think prompting teens to consider advice from their future selves is brilliant.
Yeah.
There's actually some research that shows how thinking about the future
Oh.
can help us make better decisions in the present.
Oh, so it's not just some like feel-good exercise.
Exactly.
There's actual science behind this.
Yeah, future-oriented thinking can help teens develop a stronger sense of purpose and motivation. And this particular prompt encourages them to reflect on their current challenges and consider how they might overcome them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like tapping into their own inner wisdom.
That's a great point because it's not like somebody else is telling them what to do.
Right.
They're literally getting advice from the person who knows them best,
Exactly.
themselves,
But yeah.
just a few years down the road.
And it forces them to really look inward. You know,
Yeah.
It encourages self-awareness, which is so crucial during the teenage years.
Yeah.
By thinking about the advice they'd seek from their future self, they're forced to look inward and examine their own values and goals and aspirations.
Yeah.
It can be a really powerful tool for personal growth.
Definitely. Yeah. And speaking of growth,
Okay.
that kind of ties in nicely with the next category,
Okay.
which is confidence building prompts.
Makes sense.
And let's be honest, the teenage years can be a real,
Oh, yeah.
battleground for self-esteem.
Totally.
So Listallion includes prompts that encourage teens to recognize their strengths. One example is,
Right.
what's something I've achieved recently that I feel really proud of? And what did it take to get there?
I like that one.
Right.
Yeah. It's all about shifting the focus from self-doubt
Yeah,
to self-recognition.
totally.
It's so easy for teens to get caught up in comparing themselves to others and focusing on their flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This prompt forces them to pause
right.
and acknowledge their accomplishments,
Yeah.
which can be a real confidence booster.
Do you think that like simply writing about an achievement can actually make a difference in how a teen feels about themselves?
I do.
Okay.
You know, the act of writing can be incredibly therapeutic.
Yeah,
It allows us to process our thoughts and emotions in a way that talking sometimes can't.
I see.
When teens take the time to reflect on their achievements and the effort they put in,
Mm-hmm.
it reinforces their sense of capability and self-worth.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see like the power of these prompts.
Yeah,
It's not just journaling. It's almost like a form of
Right.
therapy.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
And what's fascinating is that it's a form of therapy they can do on their own,
Yeah.
at their own pace.
yeah.
You know, it gives them a sense of control and agency
Right.
over their own well-being,
Yeah, for sure.
which is really important for teens to feel like they have some control over what's happening in their lives.
Especially in that stage of life where everything's changing
Exactly.
like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of things teens can't control,
Okay.
let's talk about friendships.
Yeah. Big one.
Right.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Like no surprise there.
Not at all.
Friendships are like everything when you're a teenager.
Right.
So these prompts really kind of dig into
Yeah.
how complicated they can be.
Oh, for sure.
And one of them asks, how do I feel about friendships changing over time?
Yeah.
And what helps me accept these changes?
That's a good one.
Right.
I mean, friendships can be so intense when
Yeah.
you're a teen,
Yeah.
but they can also be like super
Yeah, they change a lot.
fluid. People drift apart.
Yeah, for sure.
New connections form. It's
Yeah.
just part of it.
Totally.
But for a teenager who's already dealing with so much change, navigating all of that
Yeah.
can be really hard.
I can remember how much friendships seem to change,
Mhm.
like in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
It's like confusing,
Yeah.
sometimes even hurtful,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But I like how this prompt kind of acknowledges that those changes are normal
Mm-hmm.
and encourages teens to think about how they can deal with those shifts.
It's about helping them be more resilient,
Okay.
develop their emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
and it also makes them think about
Yeah.
healthy boundaries, what
Yeah.
they really need
Yeah.
from their friendships.
I like that it's not all like
Mhm.
sunshine and rainbows.
Right, it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Like friendships can be hard sometimes.
Exactly.
And I think it's good for teens to be able to think about that.
Yeah, and journaling can provide that space,
Right.
that safe space
Okay.
to express those feelings without being judged,
Okay. Yeah.
to process what they're going through,
Yeah.
and to figure out how to deal with it,
Yeah. Totally.
the ups and downs.
The ups and downs.
Friendships.
All right. So speaking of ups and downs,
Okay.
I think the next category
Mm-hmm.
is all about looking ahead
Okay.
and focusing on the ups.
I like it.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are goal setting
Okay.
and dream prompts,
Cool.
which encourage teens to think about
Mm-hmm.
what they want for their future,
That is
their aspiration.
Yeah.
And one that I thought was pretty cool
Okay.
asks, how can I break down a big goal into smaller steps? And what's one small step I can take this week?
It's a classic goal-setting technique,
Mhm.
but it's really valuable for teens.
Yeah, I think it's especially good for teenagers because they have all these big dreams,
Right.
you know? They have these big aspirations, but it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, where do I even start?
Totally.
So this helps them
Yeah.
break it down,
Break it down.
make it
Yeah.
manageable,
Yeah.
and then they can actually
Right. Take action.
take action.
Yeah.
I like how it says, what's one small step I can take this week?
Right. That's key.
Right.
It's not just about
Yeah.
thinking big.
It's like, okay, what's one thing
Yeah.
I can actually do?
What's one thing you can do
Yeah,
today,
this week.
this week, to get started?
Yeah.
And that feeling of progress
Yes.
is so important when
Right.
teens can see that they're making progress,
Hmm.
even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
It keeps them going.
Yeah, for sure.
It builds momentum.
Yeah,
It
totally.
helps them develop a growth mindset.
And last but not least,
Okay.
we're at our final category,
All right.
which is self-care and well-being.
Important one.
Super important.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Do you know?
These prompts encourage teens
Yeah.
to think about
Mm-hmm.
how they can take care of themselves
Mm.
mentally and emotionally,
Okay.
which can be really hard when you're a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much pressure
So much pressure.
to succeed,
Yeah.
to fit in.
Absolutely.
You know, one prompt that I thought was really good
Okay.
is what's one small thing I can do daily to support my well-being and keep me grounded?
I love that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's good.
It emphasizes that self-care
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be
Yeah.
this big thing.
Yeah, it can be tiny.
Yeah.
You know, like going to the spa for a whole day.
Right.
It can be as simple as
Yeah.
taking 5 minutes to listen to your favorite song
Right.
or meditate or
Or go for a walk.
go for a walk. Okay?
Exactly. Just something small.
Yeah. And the fact that it says daily,
Yeah.
that's important.
It's about building that habit.
Consistency.
Yeah.
That's key.
Yeah. And it's also good to remind teens that self-care
Yeah.
isn't selfish. It's essential. You
Yeah.
have to take care of yourself
Yeah.
before you can take care of
Other people.
anyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
And when teens make their mental and emotional health a priority, they can handle all the challenges that come with being a teenager so much better.
Yeah, for sure.
They're more resilient,
Yeah.
more focused,
Yeah,
and they're more likely to thrive.
absolutely.
And that's what these prompts are all about.
Yeah.
Empowering teens to navigate adolescence with confidence and self-awareness.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like giving them a toolkit
totally.
for all those like big feelings and changes that come with being a teenager. It's
Yeah.
way more personal and creative than just like downloading an app,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe even like spark a lifelong love of journaling.
Oh, yeah, totally. Journaling is such a gift.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is.
It gives teens a safe space to process everything, to explore their emotion, and like really figure out who they are.
Yeah.
And I think the cool thing about these prompts
Yeah.
is that they help you get started.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just sit down with a blank page and you're like,
I don't even know where to start.
what do I write?
Yeah.
These prompts solve that problem.
Totally. And you know what I was thinking?
Right.
Remember how we said these prompts are from Listallion?
Yeah.
That online shop?
Mm-hmm.
They sell journals too.
Right.
What if you gave a teen one of their journals
Wow, that's a good idea.
and wrote your favorite prompt from this episode
I love that.
and a little note?
That's such a thoughtful gift.
Right. It's encouraging them to journal,
Yeah.
but it's also personal.
It's personal.
Yeah.
And it shows that you care about them.
So there you have it, folks.
Hmm.
We took a deep dive into 50 journal prompts for teens.
We did.
And I think we all learned
Yeah.
a lot about the power of journaling.
Absolutely.
And if you know a teen, maybe encourage them to try it out.
I think they'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep exploring
Keep reflecting.
and keep diving deep.